The Galactic Union stretched across thousands of light years, uniting hundreds of species through a fragile web of alliances, treaties, and shared goals. For centuries, this coalition had preserved a delicate peace among the stars, despite occasional border conflicts and diplomatic strains. On its frontiers, new colonies flourished on habitable planets, carrying the aspirations of their founding species. Nemelis was one such world, a lush paradise recently settled by the Aryan people. Its sapphire oceans and emerald land masses promised a prosperous future for the colonists. Renowned across the Union for their advanced biotechnology and graceful architecture, the Aryans had built thriving settlements on Nemelis's primary continent. Their structures, elegant spirals of shimmering white composites, blended seamlessly with the planet's natural splendor. Yet Paradise had its vulnerabilities. Far from the Union's core worlds, Nemelis lacked robust defenses. Its newly installed orbital defense grid consisted of only 3 platforms, supported by a modest fleet of interceptor craft based at a single spaceport. The colony's leaders considered this adequate, given the Union's long-standing peace. Dr. Neela Varys, Chief Science Officer and Technical Director of the colony, stood on the observation deck of Nemelis's Central Research Facility, her fingers tapping anxiously on the railing as she studied a holographic display. The sensor data she reviewed sent a chill through her. "Can we confirm these readings?" she asked, her usually calm voice trembling. Her assistant verified her worst fears. Multiple ships had emerged from faster-than-light (FTL) travel at the system's edge. Their configurations were unknown, but their energy signatures matched those of Siraki vessels. The name Siraki sparked fear throughout the room, a predatory species infamous for ruthless resource extraction and biological harvesting. The Siraki raided vulnerable worlds, stripping them bare and often abducting inhabitants for horrific experiments. Planets they targeted were rarely left habitable. "Alert Commander Orus immediately," Neela ordered, moving toward the communications console to initiate emergency evacuation protocols for civilian zones. Commander Ryland Orus, a former Union naval officer, received the alert during routine security drills. Having sought tranquility on Nemelis after years on the frontier, he never anticipated a genuine threat here. Now, watching the tactical display as over a dozen hostile ships approached, including 3 heavy cruisers, he felt his military instincts surge. "All units to defensive positions," he commanded through the network. "Begin civilian shelter protocols. Non-essential personnel must reach underground complexes within 30 minutes. Against Nemelis's limited defenses, the odds were grim. 20 minutes later, in the command center, Neela and Ryland watched as the first orbital defense platform erupted in a burst of plasma. The Siraki hadn't bothered with negotiations. They opened fire upon entering range. "Orbital Platform 1 is destroyed," a technician reported redundantly. "Platforms 2 and 3 are engaging the lead ships, but their shields are holding." Neela asked, "How long until Union reinforcements arrive?" Though she knew the answer, Ryland's expression was somber. "4 days at least. The nearest battle group is in the Cygnus sector." A second explosion lit up the display as another platform fell to the Siraki onslaught. Hope dwindled among the frantic technicians. "We need to send a distress signal," Neela said decisively. "The standard Union emergency band is active," a communications officer replied. "No," Neela countered, her golden eyes narrowing with resolve. "I mean the quantum beacon." Silence fell. Even Ryland looked startled. "The quantum beacon is restricted technology," he said quietly. "Union protocols limit its use to extreme emergencies." Nyla gestured at the tactical display, where Siraki ships methodically dismantled Nemelis's defenses. "If this isn't extreme, what is?" The quantum beacon, a closely guarded secret of advanced Union worlds, enabled instantaneous communication across vast distances, unlike light-speed transmissions. However, its distinctive energy signature risked exposing hidden Union outposts. Its use was tightly regulated. Rylan nodded after a brief pause. Do it. Neela accessed a secure terminal, entering authorization codes. A panel slid open, revealing a crystalline device pulsing with soft blue light. She placed her palm on it, and the crystal responded to her biometric signature. This is Dr. Neela Varys of the Aryan colony Nameless, she spoke clearly. We are under attack by Siraki forces. Orbital defenses are failing, and civilians are at immediate risk. We request urgent assistance from any Union vessels in range. This is an emergency quantum beacon transmission from Nemalis. Please help. The crystal flared brightly, then resumed its steady pulse. The message would reach every quantum receiver in the Galactic Union instantly. Now we wait, Ryland said, his tone heavy with doubt. Even if received, help would take days to arrive. Will anyone hear it? A young technician asked, voicing their shared fear. Someone will, Neela replied firmly. Whether they arrive in time is the question. Far across the galaxy, at the Galactic Union's orbital administrative hub, the quantum beacon's signal interrupted a council session with a priority alert. Representatives from dozens of species listened as Namalis's plea echoed through the chamber. Ambassador Laura Jen, a willowy Alarian, spoke first. We must send aid immediately. The Siraki have violated the Outer Rim Treaty. A burly Taran delegate growled in dissent. The nearest battle group is 4 days away. By then, Nameless will be a wasteland. We'd risk ships for nothing. So we abandon them? Laura challenged, her luminescent skin pulsing with emotion. We make strategic choices, the Taran replied coldly. Nemelis is a minor frontier colony, regrettable but not worth disrupting fleet positions. Debates erupted with factions split by their own interests. Some demanded action, others urged caution, and a few, harboring grudges against the Aryans, advocated non-intervention. Admiral Jorix, the Union fleet commander, restored order. I've ordered a rapid response team to prepare for departure. They'll reach Nemelis in just under 4 days. But I must be realistic. It may be too late to save the colony. On Nemelis, the situation worsened. The final orbital platform fell within the hour, and Siraki landing craft descended toward the main settlements. Commander Ryland organized his 300 security personnel to form defensive perimeters around civilian shelters, equipped with standard pulse rifles and a few portable shield generators, woefully inadequate against Siraki technology. Hold the line, he told his team leaders. We need to buy time for civilians to reach the deep shelters. The Siraki ground forces were terrifying up close. Nearly 7 feet tall, their exoskeletal armor seemed fused to their bodies. Multiple limbs wielded advanced weaponry, while sensory appendages scanned for targets. They moved with lethal precision. The defenders' initial pulse fire was absorbed by Siraki shields, and return fire killed a dozen Aryan officers in seconds. Ryland ordered a retreat using the colony's buildings for cover. Fall back to position 3, he commanded. Use urban corridors for ambushes. Leverage the terrain. Horrific scenes unfolded as Siraki troops advanced. They didn't just kill, they captured. Specialized units used devices to immobilize civilians, dragging them to collection points for transport to Siraki ships. In the command center, now hampered by Siraki jamming, Neela led engineers to restore satellite links. If we can repurpose the weather satellites, we might relay signals through their network, she explained, hands racing over controls. It's not much, but it'll give us communication beyond line of sight. An engineer reported, Dr. Varys, I've got a partial sensor feed from the agricultural district. The Saraki are collecting civilians and biological samples from our hydroponics and gene banks. Neela's face hardened. That confirms their motives. They want our genetic material and biotech innovations. The Saraki enhance themselves by assimilating traits from other species. Is that why they're taking prisoners? A technician asked. Yes, Neela replied softly, and those taken rarely survive. At Union headquarters, debates intensified. A Taran-led faction argued that sending a small, fast response team ahead of the main fleet was wasteful. If the fleet can't arrive in time, a vanguard just gives the Saraki more targets, the Taran delegate insisted. Laura Jen countered. A smaller fleet might evacuate some colonists. Are we willing to abandon thousands without trying? A reptilian delegate hissed. The Aryans knew the risks of colonizing so far from protected space. Resources for a doomed rescue could bolster other systems. A communications officer interrupted with startling news. The quantum beacon from Namalis received a response, not from a Union vessel. Silence fell. The message is brief, the officer continued. We have received. We are on our way. Origin unknown. Our systems can't identify the source. Admiral Jorix asked, could the Saraki have intercepted it? Unlikely, the officer replied. They lack quantum communication tech. This came from elsewhere. The revelation unnerved the assembly. An unknown entity had accessed a secure quantum transmission and was heading to Namalis. On Namalis, night cloaked the main continent. Fires raged through the settlement as Saraki demolished infrastructure after looting technology. Rylan consolidated his remaining forces, fewer than 80 of his original 300, around the largest civilian shelter, a repurposed research complex. We've lost contact with the Western District, his second-in-command reported. Teams 3 and 7 aren't responding. Rylan studied his wrist unit's tactical display. They'd slowed the Saraki with guerrilla tactics, but they were losing ground. How many civilians reached the shelters? He asked. About 60%, the officer replied, leaving the rest unspoken, captured or dead. Ryland nodded grimly. We hold this position as long as possible. If we're overrun, seal the shelters. Those inside might survive until help arrives. If help arrives, he thought. In the command center, now on emergency power, Neela received an unexpected transmission from surviving orbital sensors. Dr. Varys, new ships are entering the system, the sensor operator reported. They're not Union or Saraki configurations. Neela rushed to the display. The signatures were unfamiliar, moving at speeds impossible for known vessels. Can you get visuals? She asked, hope and dread mingling. The operator focused long-range optics, revealing ships unlike any in their database. Their hulls absorbed light, making them hard to discern, with occasional energy pulses like lightning in a storm. What are they? Neela whispered. Unknown, the operator replied. They'll reach orbit in 17 minutes. Neela decided quickly. Alert Commander Orus and attempt contact with those vessels. The operator sent a signal but got no response on standard frequencies. Try the quantum band, Nyla suggested. If they answered our beacon, they must monitor it. Moments later, text appeared on their screens. Prepare for our arrival. Hold your positions. Resistance is coming. Neela stared at the message. Friend or foe? Salvation or new threat? The mystery ships would arrive long before Union forces. 17 minutes, she murmured. We'll know soon enough. In orbit, the Saraki fleet had secured control after destroying Namelis's defenses. Their massive harvester ship loomed over the main settlement, deploying craft to transport captives and resources. The Saraki commander, seasoned from countless raids, was irritated by reports of approaching ships. Union forces weren't expected for days. Identify, he demanded. Unknown configuration, not in our database, his subordinate replied. 6 vessels, cruiser-sized, with unusual energy readings. The commander dismissed them as scavengers. Redirect Defense Squadron 3 to intercept. If they don't withdraw, destroy them. 3 Saraki ships broke formation, charging weapons. They broadcast a warning in galactic trade language. This world is claimed by the Saraki Dominion. Depart or be destroyed. No reply came. The lead Saraki ship fired a plasma bolt as a warning, expecting it to pass close. Instead, the bolt vanished, absorbed by an invisible field far from the target. The dark ships continued their approach, unfazed. Furious, the Saraki commander ordered a full assault. The 3 ships unleashed devastating energy beams. The dark ships responded, distorting space around them. The beams bent, some dissipating, others reflecting back. One Saraki ship was hit by its own weapon, its shields collapsing. The lead dark ship fired a precise energy pulse, bypassing shields and severing another Saraki ship's command section. The 3rd ship tried to flee but was disabled by another pulse. The engagement lasted under 30 seconds. On the Saraki command ship, the display caused panic. The commander mobilized his 23-ship fleet into a defensive formation. Suspend harvesting, he ordered. Recall ground forces. Prepare for combat. His executive hesitated. Commander, if these ships disabled our vessels so easily. We have numbers and firepower, the commander snapped. We are Saraki. We do not retreat. On the surface, Ryland received Neela's update with cautious hope. Unknown ships are engaging the Saraki in orbit, hostile to them, not us. Hold positions, but be ready for anything. The Saraki attacking his position suddenly halted, their commanders receiving new orders. They're pulling back, his second-in-command noted. Not retreating, Ryland corrected. Regrouping. Something shifted their focus. In orbit, the dark ships closed on the Saraki fleet. The Saraki fired coordinated volleys, creating an inescapable energy web. The dark ships executed impossible maneuvers, bending space to evade or redirect the attacks. Their counterstrikes were surgical, disabling Saraki weapons, propulsion, and command systems without destroying the ships. Within minutes, half the Saraki fleet was inert, the rest struggling against an enemy that anticipated their every move. The Saraki commander watched in horror. Recall all ground forces, he ordered. Prepare the command ship for emergency FTL jump, his executive protested. But our planet-side forces and captives. Forfeit, the commander said coldly. Command survival is priority. On Namelis, the Saraki retreat was chaotic. Ground forces abandoned their offensive, racing for landing craft. Ryland seized the moment. All units, advance, target their evacuation ships. His forces, now the pursuers, gained momentum. In the command center, Neela monitored the orbital battle with awe. The Saraki fleet is being dismantled, she reported to Ryland, and new signatures are entering the atmosphere. Unlike the angular Saraki craft, these vessels descended gracefully, their dark hulls glowing red from entry before fading. They landed strategically near active combat zones. From the vessels emerged tall humanoid figures in light-absorbing armor, their outlines phasing with reality. They wielded elegant weapons projecting force fields, not projectiles or beams. Moving with uncanny speed, they outflanked Saraki positions, immobilizing troops with precision rather than killing unless necessary. Ryland witnessed one engagement. 3 armored figures appeared behind a Saraki squad, pinning his officers. Their weapons distorted gravity, leaving Saraki soldiers floating or crushed by intensified weight. One figure approached Ryland, its featureless helmet turning transparent to reveal a near-Aryan face with silver eyes and pale skin. "Commander Ryland Orus?" it asked in perfect Aryan. "Yes," Ryland replied warily. Who are you? Captain Althea Crane, United Helian Fleet, she said. We received your distress call. Evacuation is unnecessary. The Saraki threat will be neutralized shortly. Helian, Ryland repeated, unfamiliar with the name. Are you with the Galactic Union? A faint amusement crossed Crane's face. Once, long ago, we've been absent from galactic affairs. Your quantum beacon reached us and we chose to act. Before Ryland could ask more, Crane received a communication through her armor. I must return to orbital operations. My teams will secure the settlement and provide medical aid. Direct your injured to these coordinates. She sent data to Ryland's tactical unit. Thank you, Ryland said, grappling with the sudden shift. But why did you come? The Helian are unknown to us. Crane's expression grew solemn. We've monitored the Saraki longer than you'd imagine. Your signal gave us the opportunity we awaited. We'll speak more when the situation is secure. Her helmet reopacified and she sped toward her vessel. In orbit, the battle ended swiftly. The Saraki command ship's FTL jump was thwarted by a Helian field, disrupting spatial conditions. All Saraki vessels were disabled, their crews contained. At Union headquarters, long-range sensors captured the scene, leaving the assembly stunned. What should have been a desperate stand became a display of technological dominance that dwarfed Union capabilities. What are we seeing? The Taran representative asked, subdued. Admiral Jorix replied, the complete neutralization of a Saraki battle group by an unknown force with technology far beyond ours. Laura Jen asked, you said Helian? The communications officer reported, limited records exist. The Helian were Union members 500 years ago, withdrawing after the Regelian conflict. They were thought extinct or isolated. 500 years, Jorix mused. Enough time for vast advancements. Laura added, the question is whether they're a threat or an ally. If they can defeat the Saraki so easily, they could defeat us. On Namelis, Neela visited a Helian medical facility, escorted by their soldiers. In under 2 hours, they'd established field hospitals with incomprehensible technology. Aryan wounds healed in minutes. Your medical tech is extraordinary, Neela told the Helian physician. Standard procedures, the physician replied. We've refined trauma care for centuries. Why haven't we encountered you? Neela asked. Your capabilities would be renowned. The physician paused. That's for our leadership to discuss. Captain Crane will meet your representative soon. Our absence was deliberate. Ryland entered, his uniform battered but his spirit renewed. Dr. Varys, the Saraki are neutralized. Their ground forces are captured or evacuated. Casualties? Neela asked. Half our security forces, Ryland said. At least 2,000 civilians dead, 500 taken before the Helian arrived. The physician interjected, the captives will be recovered. Our teams are boarding Saraki ships to free them. A Helian officer approached. Captain Crane requests your presence at the central landing zone. Union representatives have arrived. Ryland was surprised. Their forces were days away. A diplomatic shuttle made an emergency FTL jump after observing our intervention, the officer explained. A Union shuttle landed under Helian guard. Laura Jen and a small entourage, including a Taran military attaché, emerged. Crane, helmet off, stood nearly 7 feet tall, her silver eyes shimmering. Ambassador, she greeted formally. The United Helian Fleet welcomes the Galactic Union. Laura performed her species greeting. We thank you for saving countless lives. Ryland added. The Aryans owe you our existence. Crane nodded. The Saraki's biological harvesting is abhorrent. We couldn't ignore it. Why have the Helian remained hidden for 5 centuries? Laura asked cautiously. Your technology could benefit many. Crane's face shadowed. History taught us caution. After the Rigelian conflict, we saw how technological gaps lead to conquest or reckless sharing. We chose observation, not isolation, maintaining outposts to watch galactic development. The Taran attaché accused, "You've spied on us for 500 years." Crane replied calmly, "We observed, never interfering until today." "Why now?" the Taran pressed. "The quantum beacon, a technology we gave the early Union, signaled desperate need," Crane said. "The Saraki threat justified action." Laura shifted diplomatically. "What now? Will the Helion rejoin galactic society?" Crane considered. "That's for our council. For now, we'll secure Nemelis and deter further Saraki aggression." "And the Saraki prisoners?" Ryland asked. "They'll be detained humanely," Crane said. "Their ships will return to Saraki space, disarmed, but their leaders will face consequences for their crimes." As the meeting continued, Helion engineers rebuilt infrastructure with astonishing speed. By nightfall, Union observers and a response force arrived, finding themselves spectators rather than rescuers. In a private meeting aboard the Helion command ship, Crane shared more. "Our withdrawal wasn't just due to the Rigelian conflict," she explained, showing records. "Our scientists achieved breakthroughs in dimensional physics, risking catastrophic misuse if shared prematurely. We created a shielded region of space, undetectable, to develop safely." Laura noted, "Your emergence will shake the Union. Some will seek alliance, others fear you." "We know," Crane said, "but the galaxy is changing. The Saraki grow bolder, and other threats lurk beyond your borders." "Other threats?" Ryland asked. "Some regions harbor entities defying comprehension," Crane said carefully. "Not all are benevolent." A chill settled. "Will you protect us?" Laura asked. "No," Crane said firmly. "We won't foster dependency, but we'll share defensive knowledge for your sovereignty." 3 days later, Nemelis's recovery progressed. Helian ecological restoration transformed damaged areas in days. Rylan joined Neela on the command center's observation platform. "Some Union factions want Helian tech by force," he said. Neela shook her head. "Disastrous. 6 Helian ships crushed a Saraki fleet. Imagine their full power." Captain Crane approached with Laura and Helian officers. "Our fleet departs tomorrow," Crane said. "Union relief will continue rebuilding." "So soon?" Neela asked, disappointed. "The Saraki are mobilizing," Crane explained. "We must ensure they respect boundaries." "Will you fight them?" Ryland asked. "Only if needed," Crane said. "We prefer deterrence." Laura looked troubled. "The Union is divided. Some see you as saviors, others as threats." "Expected," Crane said. "Power breeds suspicion." "What should we do?" Neela asked. "Develop independently," Crane advised. "We intervened for humanitarian reasons, not dominance. We seek limited diplomacy while maintaining non-interference." That evening, a ceremony in Nemelis's plaza honored the Helion. Neela presented Crane a crystalline memorial preserving Nemelis's flora. "So you carry what you saved," Neela said. Crane was touched. "This will be archived as a symbol of our encounter." Laura extended a Union invitation for Helion representatives to discuss cooperation. Crane promised to convey it, noting, "A beginning." The next morning, Helion ships departed, vanishing seamlessly from normal space. In the following weeks, Nemelis rebuilt with Union aid and Helion-donated defenses. The Helion intervention sparked galaxy-wide debate. At a Union Council session, Laura addressed the Assembly. The Helion, hidden for centuries, saved Nemelis without demanding concessions. The Taran interrupted. "No species builds such power without ambition." Laura countered. "They value knowledge over conquest." Admiral Jorix added, "Their technology could overwhelm us. We must position ourselves carefully." A Vought representative proposed, "They offer parallel development, a wise path." The council agreed on diplomacy, limited tech sharing, and vigilance. 2 months later, Nemelis thrived. Neela, now governor, reviewed reports with Ryland. "The last captives are healed," he said. "Helian protocols reversed Saraki damage." Neela eyed the crystalline device Crane left. "What if we hadn't used the beacon?" she mused. "The colony would have fallen," Ryland said. "The Union would have remained ignorant of the Helian and other threats." "Have we traded one uncertainty for another?" Neela asked. The rebuilt settlement glowed under the stars. "The Helians showed restraint, not conquest," she said. "They could have dominated us, but chose to save us." "For now," Ryland noted. "For now," Neela agreed. "That's all any species offers, their best in the moment." In an undetectable region, the Helian Council reviewed Crane's report. "Our existence is revealed," an elder said. "Necessary," Crane replied. "The Saraki had to be stopped." A scientist displayed subspace distortions. "Dimensional barriers are weakening. Incursions may begin in 50 years. Crane studied the data. "Our emergence was timely. The Union must prepare." "And if they can't?" an elder asked. "We'll stand with them," Crane said. "We withdrew for peace, not to abandon life." The council fell silent. A desperate signal from a small colony had reshaped the galaxy's future. On Nomalis, Neela gazed at the stars, sensing the Helians' unseen presence. Beyond them, something unknown loomed. The distress signal had summoned a force that awed and humbled the galaxy, not through malice, but through the realization of their fragility. Yet in that fragility lay hope. When called in desperation, even the universe's mysteries might choose compassion.